Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. My name is Richie Procopio, aka Otter, and this show is all about Guild Wars 2. Today is episode number 78, and today we're going to be talking about the mastery system and some suggestions I have on possibly how to improve it. I don't know what that was. So, just last week, we had a closed beta test where we got to experience the Verdant Break map. I did a Tyria Talk a couple days ago, addressing my thoughts and opinions about that beta test as a whole. You can go check that out if you're interested. But one of the pieces of feedback that I gave was that they made a slight change to how the mastery system worked, and it was to fix something that felt rather clunky in the previous versions, and the new solution they have may be mildly better, but it is still a clunky system overall. So I'm going to go over what it used to be, what it changed to, why I think it's a problem, and some possible suggestions on what they can do to improve it. So back in February when I went to ArenaNet, we were shown the mastery system for the first time, kind of how it worked. And I actually did a couple of videos right when I came home from that event and showed off the mastery system. In fact, the mastery system was complicated enough that even though I had played through it and made a video about it, there were still some things I needed clarification on. The very next day after putting that video out, I needed to contact ArenaNet, get some clarifications, ask some questions, and put out another video on top of it. So it's already a warning sign that the mastery system has some confusing elements to it. So the way that it worked in February was that you would earn mastery points, right, from doing things in the world, either like completing a living story instance or completing one of their like adventure challenges, one of those new little challenges that they added into the game, or exploring or finding different places of the map. So you get a mastery point for doing different things. And what you would do is you would spend that point to unlock the ability to travel down a mastery line, for example. So a mastery, you could be going for, I want to do hang gliding. This is probably the easiest example to go down. So I want to be able to fly in the jungle with my hang glider. So what you would do is you would spend the mastery point you earned to unlock the gliding mastery line, and then you would have to fill up an experience bar in order to get that ability unlocked. So you spend the point to have the ability to level it up, and then you would level it up, and when you finish leveling up, you would get the ability to hang glide. The problem, I think, with that system and why they made a change to it was spending a point in something and not immediately getting access to the thing you're spending the point on was weird. And it was off-putting, I think. It was confusing to players. Oh, did I mess up? What did I do? How do I get this now? So I think they're trying to fix that issue with the beta version we saw last week. So the beta version we saw last week made a slight change to that. What they did then was you can equip the ability to travel down the hang gliding mastery line right away. You don't have to spend a point or anything like that. And what you do is once you equip it, then you can start gaining experience points. And when you level up and you fill that experience bar all the way up, then you unlock the ability to spend a mastery point, right? And then you spend your mastery point and you get the gliding immediately. Now, so the thing that they fixed was you spend the point right away, right when you're able to get the ability. The problem still is it still feels clunky because now you have these mastery points, but you have nothing to spend them on. You do not have the ability to just click and say, I want to spend this point here and spend this point here. No, you have the ability to sit and stare at the mastery points while you wait to actually level up, like the gliding mastery or the mushroom bouncing or the ability to talk to the new indigenous races in the jungle. So neither one is an elegant solution. Now, what are they trying to do? Why are they having some problems, figuring out the most elegant way to implement this solution? And I think it stems from the ability of what their design goal is. They want this system to kind of do two different things. They want to be able to incentivize players to experience certain particular things in Guild Wars 2. They want to reward players with, hey, you completed that story instance, now you get a mastery point. Hey, you got to this section of the map that was difficult to get to. You get a mastery point. You completed this adventure, this challenge, like you swatted the flies, or there's different types of little mini challenges in the expansion, and they want to be able to award mastery points for these specific things. And these mastery points they want them to use on cool horizontal progression system that advances characters in ways that are beyond just increasing the power level of the character. Right? They want to unlock the ability for the characters to see see different things in the world. Right now I can hang glide and get to places where I couldn't get to before. I can mushroom bounce and the same thing. Or I can find out bits about the lore or unlock hidden vendors or secret places because I can talk to the Itzel that are living in the jungle now. And I think all of that is really cool. So they want this horizontal progression system and that you get points from doing specific types of content. But they also want to place value on experience points and the leveling up process, right? And you get experience points from just playing Guild Wars 2, no matter what you're kind of doing, you know, I'm talking in the PvE side here, because this is a PvE progression system. No matter what you're doing, whether you're just killing a monster or completing an event or running a dungeon or you're doing your dailies, you're going to get experience points. And they want some value on that leveling up process. The way it is now without the expansion is you gain skill points. But for most of the players, those skill points are fairly worthless. They just start accruing hundreds of these skill points, and they don't really have much to spend them on. Sure, there's vendors that you do spend skill points on, but it's usually for some, you know, people that are going after legendaries and stuff like that you need them. But in most part, there's not much value to actually continuing to level up once you hit level 80. So they want, at the same time of getting you to do certain types of content and getting you to progress your character horizontally, they also want to place value on the leveling up process. And I guess a side effect of that, but it's still probably a goal, is to lengthen the amount of time it takes you to complete the masteries. So they don't want it to be the kind of thing where the expansion hits and within 1 week, you know, the most hardcore characters have unlocked all of the masteries across their account and they're waiting there with twiddling their thumbs with nothing to do. They want it to be a progression that takes a while to kind of obtain all of these things. All right, so with those goals in mind, you know, I do have a suggestion of what they can do. But before I do that, I want to kind of highlight why I think this is important. I've talked in my last episode about new player experience. We're going to have an influx of players coming back to the expansion. They may have played it for a few weeks, you know, 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago by the time the expansion comes out, and they might have not picked up the game since, and this brings those players back. Well, ArenaNet and the community at large wants as many of those players to stick to the game as possible. We want this thing to be as successful as possible. So we want players that are coming back, and we want players that maybe just bought the game a few months ago and have leveled up characters to get into this expansion and really stick. And I think that the new player experience can be hampered by a confusing advancement system like this. Now, I am no genius when it comes to video games. You know, I make mistakes all the time. I get confused by things all the time. But I think, in general, people can kind of look at me and say, yeah, there's a guy that knows Guild Wars 2. I've been playing the game forever, making content about it forever, and I've been following the news on the expansion for a long time. But I want you to take a look at my initial reaction to the beta test last week when I saw the mastery screen. I was streaming my reaction and I was trying to figure it out, and this is kind of what it looked like when I saw it for the first time. All right, we finished that. What is this? We got a little point. Mastery point earned. Oh my goodness. So exciting. How do I spend it? Masteries. Heart of Aguma. I got one. Oh, this is all different UI than what I learned before. Gliding. I want to train this one. No? No train? No trainee? They're all locked. What's this? Already got this one? I don't know. Maybe it's not enabled right now. Gliding. Oh, check mark. There we go. That's what I want. Check mark. Still not letting me do anything. It's all different than what I learned. They changed it. They giving me another one? They gave me another one? But I can't spend it now anyway. They gave me two. I know I have two. So I can't do anything with that until this experience bar fills up. Alright, we're at 3%. Now, what's interesting about that is, okay, there's my gut reaction to it, I am like I said, I am no wizard when it comes to things, but you know, if that's my gut reaction, if I was totally confused about it, I think a player who's only been playing for a few months or is just coming back after a couple-year break they're gonna be just as confused, if not more confused. So I think it's worth taking the time during this beta to look at alternate solutions to kind of make that less confusing. Now, the solution that I've thought up, and I've been really racking my brain, and I don't think, like, keeping in mind all of the design goals that I mentioned earlier that I think ArenaNet wants around this system, it's kind of hard to come up with a really smooth, elegant solution to this. And the thing that I've thought of actually will take a significant amount of work and effort. So I'm not expecting this type of thing to be implemented. It's just an idea I want to throw out there. So I think what would be great is if you come into the Verdant Brink map, and there are places you can go to kind of unlock these mastery lines. So, for example, pretty soon when you get in there and you start staring into these huge, like you're in the treetops and you're looking down and you see all these different levels of vines and branches and stuff like that, it would be cool if there was an NPC, that is teaching other NPCs or whatnot about hang gliding, and maybe he's the one that invented hang gliding, or whatever kind of bits of lore that they can do, and players can wander over there. It should be pretty obvious, should be pretty easy to access and to get to. And players can do like some sort of story instance where they learn about like what hang gliders are and why we're suddenly going to be able to use them, and maybe even a tutorial where you get to borrow a hang glider and it shows you how to kind of maneuver and just teaches you it a little bit. A short little tutorial / story based instance. When you complete that, it unlocks the gliding mastery line and even gives you the ability to do base hang gliding, right? It's not a very hard thing to do to actually get it right away. Currently, right now, you have to equip it and then do a whole level of experience points to unlock it. So this is a little bit faster to do that, but at the same time, it gives you more context about what the heck you're doing, right? Once you have that unlocked, that's across your account. Now, there's going to be other tutorial little story instances throughout the map as you hit different locations that will unlock the base ability in the other mastery lines, right? When you first get introduced to the Itzel and you start talking to this new, race of Hylic creatures, that will unlock the Itzel culture line, right? I forget exactly what it's called, but maybe you do a little story instance for the Itzel where you help them with a few things, and that unlocks the base ability to kind of speak with the Itzel and unlocks a vendor or whatnot. Or maybe if it's not going to be a story instance, maybe it'll be like a little scavenger hunt thing where you have to help collect different pieces of something and help them restore a relic that's been broken. Or, it doesn't have to all be story instances, but some sort of context that you're doing in the jungle to introduce you to that mastery line. Maybe you find some crazy, monkey medicine man, or, maybe even another Hylic that has you sampling different types of mushrooms, and that's kind of how you unlock that mastery line. So there's some contextual based way to unlock each of the mastery lines rather than just equipping one of them. Now, you get the base ability just by completing that tutorial. You're not spending any points or anything at this point. Now, before I get into the rest of the solution, some folks might be bringing up a parallel like, well, this sounds a lot like the unlocking the trait system, which we hated, where you had to kind of go to all these different places in the world to unlock your different traits. There's a couple things that differentiate, in my mind, between that system and this. In this one, there's only a handful of things you have to do, right? I don't know off the top of my head how many mastery lines they're introducing, but it's somewhere in the realm of like 6 to 10 possibly that we know of or so. So you would do six or 7 of these things. The other thing is they're contextual, right? They have something directly to do with the mastery line and kind of explaining it and giving you a little tutorial on top of it. Whereas the trait unlocks were just random things. It was like, all right, to unlock this trait that allows you to do more damage with the greatsword, we want you to go to Or and kill the high priest or something. So there were random things that brought you all over the place that had nothing to do with the traits you were unlocking. And the third thing is mastery system is account wide across all your characters. So you do these tutorial things one time and it's active on all of your characters. All right, so that's how I would mitigate that piece of feedback. Now, how about making the levels meaningful and actually going out and doing specific content and rewarding you with things that you can spend in here? Well, that's where mastery points would come in. So you're still going to need to do more than just basic hang gliding, right? There's going to be more abilities going down the line just like there is now. The ability to hang glide for longer, right? Or the ability to launch your hang glider faster, or, those different abilities down the line. You're going to spend mastery points doing that. And you're going to earn mastery points in 2 different ways. One way is you're going to do just like they have right now. You're going to do those adventure challengey things, or you're going to complete a story instance, or you're going to get to some place in the world that earns you a mastery point. The second thing they're going to do is every time you gain a level, you're going to be awarded a mastery point. Okay, and you can spend them on this line. Now, I do think they would have to tweak the numbers a little bit. I don't think, I think there would probably have to be, it would be more points that you would need to spend to go down the line so that they're, because it's going to be, you're going to be accruing a lot more points because every single time you level up, you're going to get a mastery point. But if they tweak the numbers the right way, they can still make this a lengthy progression system, still make it meaningful to it, and maybe to incentivize players to actually go out and do the content like these challenges and the story instances and stuff. Maybe those are worth more mastery points, or maybe they're worth just the same amount of mastery points they are now, but there's additional like cosmetic rewards on top of them. Maybe you unlock different types of cosmetic hang glider, skins or different things like that. Just a way to incentivize people. So, because I could definitely see part of the feedback saying, well, it's so easy to gain levels and kind of mindless to gain levels. Why would people care about doing specific things around the new expansion to gain mastery points when they could just grind out levels and do it? So that's kind of my answer to that. So yeah, I think some of the main challenges with this idea is they'd have to definitely tweak those numbers to make sure that maybe the second ability in the hang gliding line takes maybe 8 mastery points and the next one takes 15 or however they do it. But they have to do it in such a way that it doesn't feel like it's going to take forever. But at the same time, you want it to be a lengthy progression system. The other kind of bit of feedback that I could see is, you have to do something about the tomes of knowledge and stuff like that. Maybe tomes of knowledge and stuff where gaining character levels just by clicking these scrolls that you have saved up. Maybe that doesn't give mastery points. Maybe it has to be just a level earned while playing the actual game. Maybe only those will count. They might not even have the tech for something like that. But I do think that this kind of it's not a perfect solution, but it does solve a couple of the issues. One of the issues, I really think it's big that you give context to these things, that players understand why they're suddenly learning how to hang glide and eat mushrooms and talk to these different things. And I think it's also going to help players new that come into this jungle for the first time, that they go and they do these little tutorial things and they kind of learn how the mastery system works. It's like, oh, okay, I just completed this little story thing. I flew on the hang glider a few times. That was fun. But now I have this mastery line lit up that was grayed out before and I couldn't access. Oh, okay, cool. And that's what I spend these little points on. All right, got it. And it takes a little bit of the awkwardness of having to equip them and have points but not be able to spend them yet, and all the challenges that I kind of mentioned earlier. I don't know. That's just the thought I had while driving in the car and showering and random thoughts throughout the day of how to kind of do this. Again, it would take a lot of work coming up to those story instances and retweaking how many mastery points you would need to put in there. But I think it does solve some of the issues, and I would love to see them implement something like this. What do you guys think? Do you like the current system? Do you think the current system is confusing? Do you think they should maybe tweak it somehow? What are some of your ideas? Do you like my idea? Do you hate my idea? Do you like spaghetti and meatballs? Post those all in the comments below, and let me know what you think, and I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit thumbs up and comment and hit me up on Twitter and Facebook, and look at my Patreon campaign where you can support my work and unlock cool rewards. And yeah, I will see everybody next time. Take care. I'm predicting 90% of the comments are about spaghetti and meatballs. Why do I do these things?